This is Christmas, an isolated Australian island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It is surrounded by a rugged rock wall rising more than 20 meters. Violent waves stand ready to swallow any ship attempting to reach the shore. This place is so remote that you will not find cell phone service, and there is no high-speed internet either. And strangest of all, humans are not the residents given the highest priority here. Every year, when the first rains of the season arrive, around 50 million red crabs leave the forest at the same time and flood toward the sea to reproduce. Meanwhile, only about 1,700 people live on the entire island. Bridges are built, tunnels are dug, many roads even have to be completely closed, all of it simply to make way for the rhythm of nature's survival. So what is life really like for the people who live here? And the answer lies in a way of life that is almost completely reversed from the modern world, in ways you may never have imagined. With an area of 135 square kilometers, Christmas lies alone in the vast Indian Ocean. Although it became an Australian territory in 1958, the island is actually much closer to Indonesia than to the country it belongs to. From here, Indonesia's island of Java is only about 350 kilometers away, while the western coast of mainland Australia lies more than 1,500 kilometers away. The open ocean, stretching in every direction, has isolated many species for millions of years, turning this place into an evolutionary laboratory in the middle of the sea. They have quietly nurtured one of the most unique biological worlds on the planet, and the secrets of that world will gradually be revealed later in the video. But the ocean does not only separate the natural world, it also makes life much more difficult for the 1,700 people who live here. Each week, only about 2 flights carry residents across more than 2,600 kilometers of ocean to Perth, a major city on Australia's western coast. A round-trip ticket can cost as much as $1,400. And if the weather turns bad, those few flights can be disrupted, leaving the island almost completely cut off from the mainland for days. Even after arriving on the island, getting around is no more convenient. There are no buses and no trains. The only form of public transportation that ever existed was a single taxi, operated by a local man named Chris Carr. But in 2019, even this last service had to stop because of an ironic contradiction. Mainland authorities imposed a new legal requirement. Every taxi had to install a security surveillance camera system to prevent crime. That rule became strangely out of place on an island where the crime rate is almost zero, a place where safety and trust are so strong that residents never need to lock their doors or remove the keys from their cars. Chris Carr ultimately chose to stop driving and retire. Since then, the very concept of a taxi service has disappeared from residents' daily lives. Today, the only way to explore Christmas is to rent a car and drive yourself, or walk. If isolation causes quite a few inconveniences for people, for the nature of Christmas, it tells a completely different story. Imagine escaping the suffocating heat of concrete-filled cities, or the bitter cold of winter, and setting foot on this oasis. The humid tropical climate here welcomes you with an unexpected gift. Trade winds blowing in from the ocean throughout the year, turning the entire island into a giant natural air conditioner. Temperatures remain cool and mild, ideally ranging from 22 to 28 degrees Celsius, like an invitation to let go of every worry and immerse yourself in the wild. The humid tropical climate, rugged terrain, and millions of years of isolation in the middle of the ocean have turned Christmas into a separate world of evolution. So much so that around 63% of its land animals and 1/4 of its plant species are endemic, found nowhere else. That abundance extends all the way down to the seafloor. Surrounding Christmas are coral reefs that drop steeply into the depths, where more than 600 species of fish and 88 different species of coral have been recorded. In particular, Christmas lies at the meeting point of marine populations from the Indian and Pacific Oceans, where fish from two worlds come together, even interbreed, creating many rare hybrid forms. Fortunately, this biological treasure has not only been preserved by nature for millions of years, but continues to be protected by people to this day. Nearly 2/3 of Christmas is covered by National Park, where primary forests stretch all the way to the Dales, a valuable wetland deep within the island. Since 2022, that protected area has extended beyond the coastline to shelter an entire world out in the ocean as well. Thanks to this, Christmas is like a vast city of animals in the middle of the sea. Every year, more than 80,000 seabirds from 23 species return to the cliffs to nest. And when the rainy season arrives, enormous whale sharks appear around the island, coming for the feast of newly hatched red crab larvae in the sea. But all of those creatures are overshadowed by the most numerous residents of Christmas. Because hidden beneath the forests is a kingdom of crabs. The most numerous are the red crabs, with around 40 to 50 million individuals. But red crabs are not the only giants here. Moving between the tree trunks are coconut crabs, the largest land crabs in the world, capable of weighing up to 4 kilograms, with a leg span of nearly 1 meter and a lifespan of more than 50 years. They can even climb trees and are famously nicknamed robber crabs because of their habit of carrying away objects they encounter along the way. Meanwhile, at the Dales and Hosnies Springs, where fresh water is available year-round, endemic blue crabs hide among streams and wetlands. The enormous number of crabs is no accident. Christmas's humid rainforests provide them with both shelter and an abundant layer of fallen leaves for food. Millions of years of isolation in the middle of the ocean have also helped the island avoid many predators from the mainland, allowing these many-legged residents to multiply at densities rarely matched anywhere else. With such enormous numbers, perhaps the first question many people will ask is, do the people of Christmas eat crabs? The answer is no. Early explorers once ate coconut crabs when they arrived on the island, but today, crabs are not a common food source for Christmas residents. Even red crabs, despite numbering in the tens of millions, do not appear on the dining table because their taste is considered not particularly appealing. In fact, there is an important reason why the red crabs are protected by local residents. They are an indispensable link in the Christmas ecosystem. Every day, millions of red crabs tirelessly eat fallen leaves and seeds on the forest floor, digging burrows that disturb the soil and return nutrients to the ecosystem. Until the first rains of the season arrive in October, millions of red crabs leave the forest at the same time and head toward the sea to reproduce. They crawl down slopes, pass through residential areas, and cover many roads, forming constantly moving streams of red flowing toward the coastline. What is unusual is that the migration of millions of individuals takes place according to an almost precise rhythm. The timing of reproduction is closely tied to the lunar cycle and the tides. During the last quarter of the lunar cycle, when the tide is low, female crabs move close to the water's edge and release their eggs into the sea. From here, the life of the forest is connected once again to the ocean. The eggs hatch into countless larvae, becoming a food source for many marine creatures around the island. But before reaching the sea, that army must overcome one obstacle greater than all the others: the human world. Roads, vehicles, and residential areas lie directly across their ancient migration routes. But on Christmas, instead of forcing millions of crabs to find another path, people choose to make way for them. During migration season, tens of millions of red crabs do not only pour out of the forests, they also force the entire rhythm of life on Christmas to change with them. Many roads can be completely closed, sometimes with only a short notice, forcing residents to change their routes in order to make way for the crabs moving toward the sea. In places where roads cut across their journey, even the infrastructure has been redesigned to adapt to the crabs. About 1 month before the rainy season, temporary barriers are set up along the roads, guiding them toward tunnels running beneath the roadway or overpasses built specifically for crabs. On stretches where vehicles are still allowed to pass, residents and volunteers use brooms or rakes to gently move each crab to safety. Even school buses sometimes have to stop at a distance, allowing children to walk the rest of the way to class, rather than letting the wheels drive through the stream of crabs. But giving way to them is still not the greatest inconvenience. With such enormous numbers, they can crawl straight into homes, appearing in kitchens, bathrooms, and even around beds. Some people have to cover their heads when entering the bathroom to avoid baby crabs falling from ventilation fans, or sleep completely wrapped in blankets because they worry that the creatures might crawl into their ears. Yet, instead of trying to get rid of these troublesome visitors, Christmas has learned to live according to their rhythm. Residents monitor the rainy season and the lunar cycle to predict when the Red Army will begin leaving the forest. For residents of Chinese, Malay, and European descent who have lived together on Christmas, the migration has long become part of the island's identity. Many people even volunteer their time, working alongside park rangers to set up barriers, clear routes, and protect the crabs during the most dangerous stages of their journey. When the migration ends, the roads become clear again, and Christmas returns to its usual rhythm of life. Yet for more than a century, the island's greatest economic lifeline has lain deep beneath layers of ancient forest soil, a vast treasure born from an astonishingly primitive source: bird droppings. To reach this treasure, people operate an intense open-pit mining process. Massive excavators tear through layer after layer of geology, loading the ore onto heavy trucks that move through the old-growth forest toward the pier at Flying Fish Cove. There, phosphate ore is poured directly from the cliff onto the decks of ocean-going ships anchored precariously at the edge of the deep ocean. That is right. The enormous accumulation of bird droppings from millions of seabirds over millions of years of isolation in the ocean, when soaked by rainwater, created powerful chemical reactions with the limestone beneath, calcifying into layers of phosphate ore with some of the highest purity on the planet. And the revenue figures will amaze you. This money-making machine built from bird droppings brings in more than $125 million each year by exporting more than 500,000 tons of ore to the world. For an isolated island with only 1,700 residents, this mine supports more than half of the workforce and contributes nearly 50% of the island's total economic output. However, having more money does not mean life here is easy. A single imported cauliflower alone can cost as much as $20. Because of this, many families still provide part of their meals from what the island itself can offer. Residents go out to sea to catch tuna, wahoo, or sailfish to bring fresh food home to their families. Around their houses, small garden plots are used to grow vegetables, while deep in the forest lies a hidden wild supermarket with many edible plants originating from seeds brought by miners in the past. Even the flocks of feral chickens wandering across the island add extra nutrition to local meals. In recent years, tourism has also gradually become an important source of livelihood for Christmas. Each season, when the red crabs migrate or whale sharks return, the island welcomes more visitors willing to travel thousands of kilometers to witness its wild world. The forests, coral reefs, and endemic animals have been bringing income to residents through accommodation services and nature-based activities. When people hear the name Christmas, they often imagine a place deeply shaped by Christianity. But the reality here tells a completely different story. The name itself came from a chance moment in history. On December 25, 1643, British Captain William Miners happened to spot this isolated island while sailing across the Indian Ocean. Because it was Christmas Day, he named the land after the holiday. It was not until the late 19th century, when the first miners from China, Malaya, and Singapore arrived on the island in search of livelihoods, that the seeds of culture and steadfast faith began to take root. Today, on an island named after a Western holiday, the bright red Taoist temples of the Chinese community and the minarets of Malay mosques stand together overlooking the ocean. Here, Islam and Buddhism each account for around 1/5 of the population, while Christianity represents a more modest 15%. The remarkable interweaving of these multicultural communities is not only visible in faith, but is expressed most vividly on the everyday dining table of Christmas. Here, you can begin the morning with a hot Malay roti while enjoying it with a proper Australian-style flat white. When sunset arrives, a traditional Italian chicken parmigiana may be served right beside plates of seafood, marinated in spicy curry at a seaside pub. At Rumah Tinggi, the historic house perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean, tropical produce growing wild across the island is skillfully transformed by chefs into refined tapas and colorful cocktails. Those flavors become even more vibrant when the island enters the Lunar New Year season. The sound of firecrackers blends with the drums of lion dances echoing across the hillsides, and Christmas proudly stands as the only place under Australian sovereignty where Lunar New Year is recognized as an official public holiday. On the tables during these days, the Chinese community also brings the sweetness of reunion mooncakes and the ceremonial feast of the Hungry Ghost Festival to honor ancestors in the middle of the vast ocean. Respect for faith also reaches into every corner of the grocery stores. At Kedai Al-Baraka, the only Muslim food store on the island, even the meat pie, an iconic food of Australian culture, is prepared strictly according to Islamic halal standards. That harmony allows a Western dish to fit perfectly with Malay religious rules when Hari Raya arrives. It is then that pots of rich nasi lemak, fragrant with coconut milk and rendang filled with aromatic spices, are served, so the entire island can share in peace, gratitude, and forgiveness. By September, the rhythm of life becomes lively again with Bird and Nature Week, when visitors join scientists deep in the forest. Soon after comes Territory Day, where the commemoration of history turns into an explosive celebration with a playful flower bomb attack on the beach. And as the year gradually comes to an end, Christmas returns to celebrate the very holiday that gave the island its name. During the unique Rock Riders Lolly Run, tropical Santas do not ride in reindeer sleighs, but on red postie motorcycles, traveling through the streets to hand out bags of sweets to children. But the warmest symbol of the island's compassion is Orphans' Christmas. It is a Christmas lunch for people far from home, held right beside the sea at Flying Fish Cove. Here, solitary scientists, workers living far from their hometowns, and travelers with no family nearby sit together and share traditional dishes from their homelands with strangers beneath the shade of coconut palms. Yet living in an isolated land has never been easy. Even though most of the island's area is dedicated to protecting nature, Christmas still cannot prevent every threat from arriving from outside. At Greta Beach, as mentioned earlier, this is a sacred nesting ground for rare green sea turtles. Due to the effects of ocean currents, this coastline is being choked by a tidal wave of foreign plastic waste. In 2025 alone, volunteers had to rake through the shore and collect a record 2.8 tons of plastic debris washed onto the beach. What is heartbreaking is that scientific studies have shown that more than 98% of this waste was not produced by the island's 1,700 residents, but came from neighboring industrialized countries. This animal paradise has now become a brutal trap, where exhausted sea turtles are unable to dig into the sand to lay their eggs, and newly hatched baby crabs are surrounded and suffocated among mountains of human plastic waste. Nature is also creating a difficult challenge for the economy of Christmas. The phosphate reserves that have sustained Christmas for more than a century are gradually being depleted, affecting the incomes of many workers who depend on the mining industry. Although tourism is opening up a new direction for livelihoods, replacing an industry that once served as the backbone of the entire island will still be far from easy. Most worrying of all is that young people are gradually leaving the island. For many children born on Christmas, the age of 15 is also the point when they have to leave their families to continue their education on the mainland. And after those years of study, many choose to remain in Australia to find work and build a new life. In a community of only 1,700 residents, the departure of even one family is enough to make those who remain feel as though they have lost one of their own family members. That departure is also quietly widening the gap between generations. While older residents still converse in Cantonese, Hokkien, or varieties of Malay, younger people increasingly use English. And as more people leave the island and do not return, the languages, customs, and local knowledge once passed down within each family are gradually left with fewer people to carry them forward. An island of tropical forests that has quietly nurtured a unique world of life for millions of years. An island of a multi-ethnic, multi-religious community that has lived together on a small piece of land in the middle of the Indian Ocean. But above all, Christmas is an island of people who have learned to live with tolerance toward one another and in harmony with nature. They accept what the island provides to build their lives, but they are also willing to give back the forests, the roads, and even part of their everyday rhythm so that the wild world can continue to thrive. Although environmental challenges and population pressures still lie ahead, Christmas has many reasons to remain optimistic. With its rare biological treasures and growing tourism potential, Christmas can absolutely find a path towards sustainable development, creating more livelihoods for residents while bringing the beauty of the island closer to the world.